Nick Sirianni is the best head coach in Philadelphia Eagles history, and I don't even think it's particularly close. This is a compare the resumes business, and Sirianni's is already the best one. 2 Super Bowl appearances, a win, 3-1 in games with trophies on the line, never missed the playoffs, never lost a home playoff game. I don't even think this is controversial. Right before we started, Tyler said, yeah, Andy, he's the most successful coach. And I guess when you bring longevity into it, he was, but not here. I mean, he never won the big game. And in fact, that's what he struggled to do. Nick Sirianni plays in and wins big games every other season. He's the best because that's what you're judged on. How you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to Philadelphia, presented by our friends at Bet Parks. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the afternoon. Joining me live in the Xfinity Lounge, it is my esteemed producer and guy who wants to kill the board he's working on.
We allowed a drink on the air?
How's it going back there? I just see you. Did you hurt yourself pushing the button?
Yeah,
so hard?
I cut my finger. And
the buttons are rubber.
No, not on that. On something else. I don't know what it was. But yeah, I'm just to the point. Like, are we allowed to have like a bourbon on the show?
I wouldn't stop you. I would never make such a rule, not allowing such a thing, Tyler. But Tyler is, of course, my esteemed producer and the host of PHLY Phillies. Make sure you check that out Monday, Wednesday, Friday. All right. We have some headlines to get to, and then I am going to... I don't know really what the format of today's show is, just FYI. I read one sentence in an article about Nick Sirianni, and it made me go down this whole rabbit hole of Andy Reid stuff. We'll get to it when we get to it. But first, let's get to a couple headlines. Sixers lose to the Raptors 121-112 last night. I was at the PJs in Haddon Township, as I am most Wednesday nights. Ava hosts a Quizno. I go with her, have a few beers, watch whatever game is on. And I wasn't paying super close attention, but I was watching what appeared to be, for most of the game, 1 or 2 possessions, okay, give or take, a little back and forth. And then all of a sudden, I went to the bathroom and came back in the third quarter, and they were getting killed. I don't know what the hell happened. At some point, I looked up, and it was like, oh, okay, so now it's like a 9-possession game. Don't really know when this happened. All the Raptors starters scored at least 16. It looks like they all shot about 50%. But honestly, I was just baffled by what I was watching. I was like, wait, wasn't it just... But now, when did this all occur?
Yeah.
It seems as if third quarters are an issue for this team.
Yeah, routinely a problem for this team. So last night, they lose the third quarter 44-26. In no other quarter did they give up more than 33. They gave up 44 in the third last night. It does continue to be a third quarter issue. It's not the first time that games have either slipped away or become a problem. Like, for example, it was a couple nights ago, I think they had a really rough third quarter against the Pistons, I believe it was. Yeah, 34-21 in the third quarter against the Pistons about 10 days ago. It's just a run of theme that the Sixers have struggled out of the gate after halftime, which, is it an adjustment thing? I don't know what it is, but it has become a running problem.
Maybe I took a bathroom break. Maybe that's all Nick Nurse does at halftime, and then it's, the other team. It seems like they talked. Maybe that's the issue. Also, Flyers are finally back in action tonight. That's right, your Philadelphia Flyers. After playing 8 games in the first 15 days of November, They then had 4 days off, Saturday through Wednesday. They are finally back on the ice tonight, and it is against the St. Louis Blues, who they beat 6-5 in that wild shootout game a couple games ago. I think it was last Friday. They erased two-goal deficits. They win in the shootout. Zegras gets the overtime penalty shot. It was just an absolutely wild game. Hoping for more of that tonight because win or lose, I just really want to be entertained. But there is something pretty cool going on down at the Xfinity Mobile Arena tonight. It is Hockey Fights Cancer Night down at the arena, and it's going to be Jason Martinez dropping the puck for Sean Couturier and Blues captain Braden Shen. So that's pretty cool. Two guys he's probably known a while. So shout out to Jason after overcoming his struggle with cancer over the last few months. Really great to see him out and about. Obviously, he's been doing Flyers daily. Now he'll be out in front of the crowd and get some much-needed love. Did you know Jason at all?
Jason and I worked together quite a bit. Yeah, so he, obviously, I did a lot of the Flyers pre and post. So he was on that with the intermissions and things like that. He is also a fellow metalhead. So he and I have bonded over that over the years. Just a great dude, and I'm really glad. Of course, things have gone in a good direction for him, over the last few years, and B, he's back doing what he loves to do. Because there's nothing other than playing, guitar and listening to metal music. There's nothing that he loves more than hockey and loves the Flyers more than anything. So I'm super, super glad that he is, able to do this event and just a great guy. I love getting to interact with him. We don't talk as much as we used to, but when we do, it's like we never left. He's
like and I'll say this, like the highest approval rating of maybe any Flyers media. That's I think. There's definitely way more people that like Jason than like me. I'll tell you that. I don't think there's anyone like on Flyers Twitter, Flyers fans who consume the product and talk about it outside. There's not one of them who doesn't like Jason Martinez. So it's pretty cool that is going on. All right, timing of the show. So Sixers' third quarter scoring is the second worst in the NBA. Their third quarter defense is also the second worst in the NBA this year. They're scoring 24.5, and they're allowing more than 32 points per third quarter. You're not going to unless you open up a 20-point lead at halftime.
You're talking about on average losing the third quarter by just under 8 points.
Yeah.
On average. So that means that 50% of those games they're losing the third quarter by more than 8 points.
Considerably more, you would have to guess. Yeah, so it's not going great in third quarters. All right, so that makes sense. That's why I was so confused when I felt like I was only gone 5 minutes. Did a lap, talked to the bartender a bit, looked up. They were getting killed. It was just a one-possession game the whole way. Anyway, all right, timing is a little different on today's show, but let us take our first break, then come back and talk some birds. Whether your favorite team wins or not, there's always another way to win on the BetParx online casino app. So many ways to win at Parx. We're talking every slot machine you could dream of. Huff and More Puff, Fireblaze, Sky Queen, slot machines based on your favorite streaming shows like Breaking Bad and The Walking Dead, Peaky Blinders, nostalgic favorites like The Goonies. And don't forget all your casino classics as well. We're talking blackjack, we're talking roulette, we're talking craps, poker, baccarat. A million ways to win on the BetParx online casino app, and now is the time to get in because new users get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. Go to betparx.com, download the app right now, and enjoy all the action and excitement from the casino at your fingertips. Must be 21 plus and in PA, New Jersey, Maryland, or Michigan for BetParx. You love to play. You play to win. You bet. BetParx. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right. Well, as we've pointed out over the last few moments or so, if you're thinking about getting in on hockey action tonight or pro basketball as the week continues, and then, of course, pro football, college football over the next weekend or so, you have to do it with Xfinity because if you call yourself a sports fan, you have to get Xfinity, the ultimate sports destination where there's no lagging, buffering, or switching between apps. You can find every game that you're looking for and your favorite teams all in one place. And the way that you watch becomes next level. There's 4K sound, crystal clear optics. It's going to feel like you're at the arena without having to actually go to the arena and spend a whole bunch of money. So head on over to Xfinity.com to learn more. Xfinity, imagine that.
All right, welcome back. How's it sound, Tyler? Does it sound better? Was there an issue? Okay.
Yeah, you had a little bit of an echo. We were just trying to clean it up.
You never know. We test stuff, and then immediately it's like, oh, yeah, it didn't matter. But, we're doing the best we can here, folks. All right, I got to talk some Eagles, and we are going to do a little bit of a Throwback Thursday topic here today because I'm sitting down, get to work today, maybe 10:30. Just got a lot of time, going to peruse some of the sites, look for different things going on, find a Bill Barnwell column on ESPN, and he wrote this whole piece about how Nick Sirianni is the most overly scrutinized coach in the NFL. You look at his resume, and he just doesn't seem, locally, fans are going to call sports radio stations and complain about their coach no matter what. But even like the national media doesn't seem to give him the respect of a Sean McVay or something like that. And listen, he's already basically done everything McVay has done in a shorter period of time. Why isn't it? And it's a good piece. I'm not even going to knock it or anything. ESPN.com, check it out. But there is a line to start the third paragraph that basically sent me on a spiral for an hour. Gargano's doing his show. I have no one to yell at or talk to about this until Ethan and Tyler show up. So I'm just doing all this research. How could this be? Here is the first sentence of the third paragraph. Every team has fans who get upset at the coaches, of course, and Eagles fans eventually grew tired of Andy Reid and ran him out of town too. In what world did we run Andy Reid out of town? One, this is the slowest run ever. It took 14 years. What was a goddamn quadruple marathon? Probably not allowed to say that, but I am. I am so effing upset about this one sentence that you think is just like a throwaway. Oh, yeah, and Eagles fans, man, they ran Andy Reid out of town. You know how they are, snowballs at Santa Claus and all that. And can we just, let's go back. We're going to go back in our time machines. It's Throwback Thursday. Honestly, I'm allowed to do whatever I want on this show. There might not be any more topics. After his 5-11 rookie season, sure, Doug Peterson started the first 9 games. Reid had amazing early season success, early career success in Philadelphia. 11 wins minimum for 5 years. 5 straight playoff appearances. 4 straight division titles. 4 trips to the NFC title game, and a Super Bowl appearance. 7 playoff wins in 5 years. Awesome, right? Yeah, good stuff. Now, his success in those NFC championship games and that Super Bowl, not even ignoring that. It's a hell of a start. Even losing the big games that he lost. First 5 years, that 5-year period, undoubtedly amazing. Over the following 8 years under Andy Reid, the Eagles won 3 playoff games, 3 playoff wins in 8 years. 2 of them were in 2008. He missed the postseason in 4 of those 8 seasons. They went 66-61-1. That's a .516 winning percentage. They're 5 games over 500 with a tie in there. And also that tie, worst game ever played. It did eventually end up getting them into the playoffs. I don't even know if it was worth watching that game to get into the playoffs that year. They win 2 division titles, and they finished last 3 times in the East. So he finished in 4th one more time than he finished first over those 8 years. They lost by 20 to the Cowboys in a one-and-done playoff exit to end the 2009 season and the McNabb era. Then they lost at home to the Packers in the wild card round in 2010 with Mike Vick. But hey, look what he's turned Vick into. And that Packers team, they went on to win 2 more road games and then the Super Bowl. It's just a bad draw. But maybe we've breathed new life into this thing. Maybe he has a second wind ahead of him. Well, then the Eagles went 8-8 in 2011 with the Dream Team. Ill-conceived plan. Let's give Reid another shot. And then in 2012, they started 3-1 and finished 4-12. And that's not even accounting for everything going on in Andy's personal life, which also may have been a need for a reset, a change of scenery, whatever. It was time. In no world, in no professional sport, and in no city would the logical endpoint be, yeah, let's bring him back. That is a ridiculous thing to think, that he was run out of town by Eagles fans. It is asinine, quite honestly. He 4-12, 8-8, hadn't won a playoff game in 4 years. They were supposed to keep him? No coach keeps their job through that kind of stretch. None in any sport.
Yeah, this was a move that I think at the end of the tenure we all kind of said probably best to reset for everybody. For Andy Reid, for the franchise, for the fan base, a reset made a ton of sense. And especially after what would ended up being 12-20 in that two-year period with
12-20
with no playoff, obviously no playoff implications. The one that really frustrates me the most when you think back on it was that Dallas back-to-back. They lose to Dallas in Week 17. Then they lose to Dallas, as you said, by a handful, probably more than a handful in the postseason. That one was frustrating. But I think everybody should be able to now look back at the Andy Reid era. And I've said this before, as a 31, almost 32-year-old, I'm extremely spoiled as an Eagles fan because it's been mostly winning in my, formidable
Conscious
to adult life.
Yeah.
And a huge portion of that was Andy Reid and the teams that Andy Reid coached. 4 straight NFC championships, 5 in 8 years,
total, yeah,
is not something that you do by accident. You don't run into that by accident. You put together the collection, probably one of the most talented rosters in Eagles history until this current group, and you were able to do it without a wide receiver for most of the time you did it. You were able to do it with the fact that your leading pass catcher for multiple years was Brian Westbrook because you didn't have that talented pass catcher. And the year that you got one, you went to the Super Bowl and pretty much steamrolled everybody in your path with the exception of losing to Pittsburgh and 2 games that Jeff Blake started at the end of the season. That's how good that team was.
I loved, because I was a huge Coy Detmer fan, I was always appreciative that they preserved him because they needed to keep their holder safe. So it was Jeff Blake who gets into those games. Always found that very, very fun.
And so with all of that, there is nothing, for me, I can't speak for everybody. For myself, there's nothing but love for Andy Reid. Now is, and I know that you and I don't agree on that.
I am in the upper echelon of Andy Reid haters.
There's nothing but love for Andy Reid for me. Now, especially that the Eagles not only have one, but have 2, I can put the demons of 3 straight NFC championship games to bed a little bit and recognize the objective success that was most of Andy Reid's tenure here.
I am now happy I got the Super Bowl when I did. 2017 was awesome for many reasons in my personal life, professional life. It all came together and was perfect, and I'm glad that was my first one. Really cool. At the same time, that doesn't change the way I felt in middle school and high school, losing those games and being just heartbroken. Like my dog died.
Sure.
It'll never go away, and I will always hold it against him because I think he's the culprit. I think he's the reason they lost. I'll also throw Roy Williams in there if T.O. has 2 legs and can get over the top. They can't take Brian Westbrook away, and they probably win that Super Bowl. So the safety in Dallas also gets a little bit of blame. But other than that, I blame Andy Reid and Donovan McNabb.
And I think blame is fair because play was not great in some of those games. Some of and coaching strategy and things like that. Those are real life tangible things that you have to be able to discuss, and it's fair to put into perspective. The one that always sticks with me, people always point to Tampa. And I think losing to Tampa was a big deal. The one that always sticks to me is Carolina the next season.
14-3.
Because it was just a game in which your defense played well, a game in which I know you were banged up heading into it, and I understand that there was some injuries and things like that. And I also think about the teams that played in the Super Bowl on the AFC side. You had a much better chance against Oakland than you did against New England in 3.
Yeah.
But in 03, I just felt like, okay, this is it. This is the year. They battle tested injuries the whole season. Guys were banged up. They continued to play through it. It just felt like that. But I think if you want to do it from a statistical standpoint and objective standpoint, sure, fingers can be pointed at both the head coach and the quarterback. No question about it. I think looking at it from a 20,000-foot view as a fan now back into it, it's easier to find the good in that time frame.
Even it's not even the winning I credit him with, honestly. If I'm going to credit Andy Reid with anything, I am going to acknowledge that his stability and vision, along with Joe Banner and Jeffrey Lurie and the guys that were here, but like the hiring of Reid and all of that, and him kind of being like, well, this is what the Packers do, and they're a good organization. That definitely is what has set this franchise up for its continued success since he has left. I will credit him with that above anything else because I believe it to be true. But, man, I once heard Andy Reid called the best coach 6 days a week in the NFL, and then it's those pesky Sundays. Now, it's not like he didn't win a ton of games on Sunday. It's just the fact that it was all in his preparedness and the way he got his team ready to play. And hopefully it doesn't come down to a 2-minute drill or a fourth down decision because he was going to get that wrong. Like, he was just going to get it wrong. He struggled on game day, but that doesn't change the fact that he might be the best offensive mind since Bill Walsh. Like, I think that's probably true. And it's just not everyone's not everyone's great at every aspect of it. And now you see, well, yeah, man, you give him one of those quarterbacks because Donovan was very good. Yeah, but he wasn't one of those guys. Now he has one of those guys, and they rarely lose until like this year.
Well, and I will say to Reid and the Chiefs' credit, they jumped up, I think it was 16 spots, because I think they moved up from 26 to 10 or 27 to 11, or whatever it was, to go get Pat Mahomes. They identified Mahomes as the guy that they wanted. Now, granted, it was, so he was drafted 10th overall. They moved up from, I want to say 25 or 26, somewhere in that range to get him. And they gave up a fairly sizable haul for him, but that's the guy that they identified. They gave up $27.91 in the next year's first because they said, we don't need next year's first if this guy is as good as we think he's going to be. He became that and probably more. And that's an identification, and that's the talent evaluation outside, again, of the wide receiver position that Andy Reid did a really nice job of for a majority of his career. I will say the one thing that always kind of got interesting with me, Andy Reid's success rate in the later rounds made up for some blunders in the earlier rounds, like the Jaquan Jarrett's, like the Danny Watkins. But you flip that with getting some guys later in picks, like a Trent Cole, like a Jason Kelsey, like a Brent Selleck, that you can balance those things, and then you start to get closer to the...
Absolutely, but it is those guys that you missed on that make the plays that win you big games.
Well, and that's probably true. That's why later in the stretch, as the success rate went down in the draft, the success rate in the regular season went down as well. There's no question as to why the team was as good as it was the year they're able to draft Lito Shepherd, Sheldon Brown, Michael Lewis, and Brian Westbrook in one draft.
4 straight picks that were like difference makers for your team and like addressing areas of need or future areas of need. It was great. I on the other side, I want to talk. We do have to hit this break at some point. I want to now compare it to Nick Sirianni. I am upper echelon of Andy haters. That doesn't mean I can't acknowledge the things that went well. Now in this comparison that I've made in my own head, I'm seeing a lot of, Andy had to deal with this, and that's just not something Nick has to deal with. And I want to ask you about some of the advantages here, and then Barnwell actually lays out some of the arguments as why Nick might not be the most respected coach. We'll do that on the other side. First, I got to tell you about Rothman. Whether it's a sore knee, stiff shoulder, or nagging back pain, Rothman Orthopedics is here to help you get back to the life you love. Their team of specialists treats all kinds of orthopedic issues, from everyday strains to long-term joint pain, with care that's efficient, effective, and close to home. So don't let pain keep you sidelined. Schedule an appointment today at rothmanortho.com/PHLY. Rothman Orthopedics, your mobility, our mission.
Hey parents, listen up. It is getting closer and closer to the holiday season. And if you're thinking about a time to teach your kids a little something about money, spending, saving, and what it means, TrueMark comes into play with the Greenlight app. It's the all-in-one money app and a credit card that's made for you, the family. It helps your kids learn how to spend wisely, save for what matters, and build smart money habits, all with you calling the shots. And the best part is, if you're a TrueMark Financial Credit Union member, you get a free custom card with their Greenlight subscription, a $79.99 value value. And if you're not a member yet, that's okay, no problem. You can open an account online or at any one of TrueMark's 24 branch locations and score this exclusive offer. With Greenlight, you'll get real-time spending alerts, easy control, and an instant on-off switch for your kids' cards. So it's make sure you teach them how to be financially secure, know what money means and spending and saving habits. But if things get skewed in any direction, you got the One Switch app to turn things off and kind of reevaluate from there. TrueMark Financial Credit Union is federally insured by the NCUA. Make sure this holiday season is a win by visiting TrueMark.com/greenlight for all the details and get started today.
All right, welcome back. Couple minutes here. I want to go through some of these, some of the arguments Barnwell makes as to why maybe Sirianni doesn't get the credit he deserves. But we had to take that little side mission today because that one piece, that one sentence, and the Barnwell piece is good. It's just that one sentence that Eagles fans ran Andy out of town. It's just not true. It is unequivocally untrue. But what advantages? Because I do think there are some. A lot of it is the infrastructure in place since Andy Reid, and a lot of it maybe has to do with him. Just the idea that like stability creates a good environment for success. Like just that thought process there. But what advantages do you think Nick has that Andy didn't?
A competent receiving core. I think that that's probably number one. And again, that's due in part to Andy a little bit because he was part of the decision making during draft days.
I think his frame of mind, his attitude towards receivers, that I can scheme him open. It's all about that. Did change after that 0-3 NFC title game where it was like, yeah, man, I don't know. They stink. We need players who are good.
But I do think the other thing that is a huge advantage for Nick Sirianni is a front office, specifically headlined by Howie Roseman, who is the absolute best in the NFL at manipulating the cap. And I use the word manipulating intentionally because it's not cheating, but it's ways to find ways throughout. You parse here and there how to kind of sneak your head around one side of the wall and say, hey, can I get away with this? I can? Yes? Okay. And that's part of it. And I think with that in mind, it allows the Eagles to have the best roster constructed and continually kick the can down the road because everybody always goes, well, doomsday's coming for the Eagles eventually. And it never does.
Like, that's the thing is, like, there's no end. There's just another season. Like, yeah, man, when the world ends, God's not going to make Howie Roseman make up for all the dead cap. Like, that's like, no, the world's just over. Yeah, I will say
you can't get into the afterlife because you have to atone for your dead cap. I don't think that's how it goes.
Like, oh man, no, you owe Roger Goodell $83 million. Like, I don't think that's the way it works. If it is, that would be very funny. But I will say, yes, Howie Roseman is the ultimate advantage, and that is the first thing Bill Barnwell lists. Is it's all Howie. Howie Roseman started with the Eagles as an intern to work on the salary cap in the year 2000, and he learned everything from Joe Banner, came up under him, came up in this organization. It's hard for me to say that that's like a distinct advantage when he was here for quite a bit of Reid's time. It was just, well, yeah, like Reid was in charge of stuff, and okay, he's over here, yeah, he's president, he's GM, whatever, but we all know Andy's in charge. Like, all right, like, he could have been like, I'm not really good at talent evaluating. I'm like running an NFL team over here. Maybe someone else should do that so I don't take a fireman in the first round. Like, I don't know. Like, he's a men's league hockey player. Let's take him in the first round of the draft. Probably a bad idea.
If there's another Danny Watkins mention on this show, we might hit the trifecta in less than half an hour.
It's really, like, the mistakes that were made. I saw someone, right there, leave me alone. I get it. Juan Castillo as the defensive coordinator. Like, that's the decision here? Like, this is what we're doing? Our offensive line coach is now our DC? Okay, yeah, it makes a ton of sense. It was just, I get that the infrastructure is kind of here from that time, and so Nick has the advantage of, like, them having worked out the kinks, but it's not as if Joe Banner wasn't doing this stuff then. Like, he realized, yeah, man, players hit 30, we should probably move on, and he was right about, like, all of them, and maybe the one he wasn't in Jeremiah Trotter, like, brought him back after 2 seasons, and they went to the Super Bowl. So, like, I don't know if that's the distinct advantage because, he came up, he learned under the guy who was doing it for Reid. All right, just lay out some of these arguments real quick, and then we'll wrap up the show for today, Tyler. So Barnwell's reasons Sirianni doesn't get the credit he deserves. Number one is it's all Howie Roseman, and yeah, man, talent is a big part of it, but I don't know who ever won with a bad team. That's the thing, is we're always going to be talking about the elite, and maybe it isn't this level of stardom on offense that the Eagles have, but I don't know. We just ran through that 0-2 draft, and before them, it was Dawkins in the middle of a really good secondary that featured Al Harris as the nickel with Bobby and Troy on the outside. That's pretty good. That's pretty good defense.
This is where we get back to the Jalen Hurts argument of Jalen Hurts has so much talent around him. That's the point.
Yeah.
That's that. If you're playing Madden, you're supposed to get as many good players as you can.
I'm sorry, your GM isn't doing his job. This is what the job is, to accumulate as many good players as humanly possible. And it wasn't in the same way then. They didn't have the value on receiver until Andy was like, enough of this. This is ridiculous. Get me that guy. But the O-line talent, focus on the cornerbacks. That was always the thing to me that drove me nuts. They knew that corners were very, very important. They always spent money on corners. What do? Cover receivers. Why? Why would that be so important if the receiver position isn't important? But I digress. But the idea that it's all Howie Roseman, he does do a tremendous job, but we've seen lots of talented teams lose. That happens all the time. Nick Sirianni, yet to have a below 500 season. Argument 2, anyone can win with this much talent, basically the exact same argument, and no, they can't, because they don't. It's the other coaches. I guess that means Vic Fangio, because guys leave every year. He's losing his OC every single season, and here we are. Yeah, the offense isn't very good, but they're going to win the division again and probably be the number 1 seed in the NFC. So I don't know.
Is it fair to say the 2 years that they went to the Super Bowl that their coordinators were difference makers? Absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
Fangio last year was a difference maker. No question about it. I think you could go back. And Kellen Moore I don't know how good of a head coach he's going to be in New Orleans. His team is pretty devoid of talent right now, but Kellen Moore was a difference maker. You look at it
better than this offense.
You look at this year. Patullo has not been a difference maker. You look in the years past where they had the nonsense with Patricia and all those dudes, Sean Desai. It was a mess. They were not difference makers. Yes, he's had difference-making coordinators, and those are the 2 seasons that they went to the Super Bowl. But again, it's a collection of talent that if you have, generally you're going to be pretty good.
Number 4, we're not really sure what he does here. That one might be fair just because from an outside perspective, it's hard to get a grasp on that. But in the piece, they point out, Harbaugh was hired after being the special teams coordinator. So you think he's ever called plays before? That's not his job, but he's been in Baltimore forever and they've been good basically the whole time. And part of that stability is what he brings. While it does seem like, Nick Sirianni keeps the locker room in check and there's always drama, it doesn't seem to carry over to the field. They keep winning despite that. So 5 is he's wild on 4th down. This is one of the things I love about him. Yes, when he does stuff like that Green Bay game, and now we've heard, actually it was them going rogue. Some of his decisions are crazy, but I do kind of like that about him. I like that he's a wild card and he just has this confidence and goes, F it. You never see coaches go the other way with analytics. It's I know the numbers said this, but the flow of the game, I needed to be conservative. It's no, there's only one decision here, Nick. He goes, F you there is. I'm going to do something you didn't even think of. I appreciate that. The Eagles aren't as impressive as they should be. I mean, 2 NFC titles and a Super Bowl and going to be the number 1 seed again. That's pretty impressive to me.
22-5 is pretty impressive.
They never lose. 7, when they were bad, it poisoned the well of public opinion. Yeah, 2023 definitely is the big part of this. Because even they're 10-1 and it's what are we going to criticize this guy? And as soon as it got ugly, people went right back to when he was hired. It's but what about the last 2 years? Yeah, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I do think that one holds water. And finally, 8, his sideline demeanor is bad. I mean, aren't we in the entertainment business? I love Nick Sirianni's sideline demeanor. I do think it's important to then have Jalen Hurts as the quarterback to kind of offset it. But I think that's the thing I like best about him, is that he's a whack. Like, he's yelling just as much as I am. They miss a call, I'm screaming at the TV. They cut to him, he's yelling the same things I am. I love that about him.
I think there is a little bit of endearment. If it goes sideways, then sure, it's a pretty quick turn. Yeah. But I think when your team wins, it's like, oh yeah, that's my goofball head coach again.
They seem to. It doesn't appear to not be getting them to play, because if they weren't trying, and this is just them winning every single game, even though they're not trying for them, like, I don't know, maybe Howie Roseman should just be like king of the world then. Like, he's that good at everything. I think he's a personality match for this city, and I think his success speaks for itself. That's why I think he's the best head coach in Eagles history, Tyler.
I mean, in terms of, we flashed the numbers, we'll show them again for you. Like, in terms of winning percentage and things like that, he's been here 5 years, this being his fifth season. He's on track. I think it's pretty safe to say, like, unless something crazy happens, they're going to win the NFC East.
Yeah.
He'll be his third division title in 5 years. He's 56-22, which is a near 72% winning percentage. And he's won 6 of his 9 playoff games, including one of his 2 Super Bowls. Talent speaks for itself. It's there. It's a real thing. There's no question about it. His talent probably elevates him as a head coach instead of vice versa. But all the guy has done is win.
It took Andy Reid 21 years to get back to the Super Bowl for a second time. It took Nick 4. That's just insane. I don't know what else to do than look at the numbers and go, the guy must be great at his job. Because if he wasn't, they wouldn't be that good. No bad coach wins for the... Yeah, you can have a good season. Like Chip Kelly, first year. Because he's got some good ideas.
Brian Daboll won Coach of the Year.
Yeah, yes, Brian Daboll won Coach of the Year, exactly. All right, that is all the time we have for you on Philadelphia today. Thank you all for listening. Thanks for hanging out. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Follow us right here on YouTube. Make sure you hit that reminder bell. We'll be live tomorrow at 1:30. We'll have some predictions for you, talk about the Flyers game, and so much more. Probably have some funny stuff to talk about as well. Follow me on Twitter at Philadelphia PHLY, and follow the podcast. Just search Philadelphia. That's it. I'm Bill Matz. Thank you to Tyler Zulli. Be excellent to each other.
We all silly like the mayor.